Hey guys, it's Dr. Braddock, and I want to talk about kids. If you know me very well, you know that children and children's health is probably one of the things I'm most interested in at this point in my life. And with a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and having navigated those waters, at least for several years now, and through that pregnancy and through that delivery, I really am passionate about this. I think one of the things that makes me most passionate about children's health is when I take a new patient in the exam room, and we're typically talking about, say it's a mother and she's having some headaches or she's having some issues like that. But it always leads back to how that's affecting her family, in particular her children, and how it affects her ability or his ability to take care of their children. So then we start talking about your children, how old are they, how many do you have, so on and so forth, and it almost always just transitions into the point of talking about the ailments of those children, even young children. It's when, their first tube surgery was, or their second tube surgery, or what round of antibiotics they're on at the moment, tonsils out, adenoids out. We're talking about whether the child has food allergies or not. They're going to the doctor every week for allergy shots, and we can't have peanuts and we can't have milk, and they're thinking that my child can't really focus at school. So we're talking about Concerta or Ritalin or Adderall, and not really sure whether we fall in that autism spectrum or not. Maybe they're calling it Asperger's, and literally this is what is the constant chatter. This is the constant conversation that's happening in the exam room, and my heart literally breaks for these new patients, because I would love to lock the door, literally lock the door, not let them out of the office until I've sat there for 2 or 3 hours and shared the information that I've been blessed to come across and learn and apply for me and my family and my children, and that they're just being led down a road that maybe is not the best path for them, right? They at least don't have the information that they really should have as parents to make some of those tough decisions. And I'm not going to share all that with you in this video. It would be a long video, and this is one I'm going to try to keep short, as I always do. But the thing is your children's health is one of the most precious commodities that we have. We talk about stewardship in church, and most of the time we're thinking money, of being good stewards of the money that we're giving. But what more precious thing are we given than the lives of our children, okay? I mean, the lives of your children, and what we do for them that first couple of years, but even up to the first 18 or 20 years, literally will set them on a path, not only in success in life and their outlook, right, and their connection to God, but in their health. We could literally ruin a child's health in the first 3 years of their life if we chose to do as parents. And they wouldn't have any control over that. That would be totally a parent's decision of what they did. And I think that's a big thing. I think it's something that if you have children of any age, that you have to take seriously. Okay? I won't talk about every aspect of a child's health, but we have to talk about one single thing, and this one single thing that you need to understand will be the building block, right? It'll literally be the rock solid foundation that will allow us to go further and talk about children's health. And we'll be doing a children's health workshop in the office. If you see that coming up, you need to make sure you RSVP, because that's where we'll go into detail. But the thing you have to understand, that one thing is intelligence, right? And I'm not talking about your intelligence or my intelligence in terms of like an IQ level. I'm talking about the inborn, innate intelligence that resides in each of us. And I'm not going to get metaphysical, right? This is not a philosophical rant. This is the actual fact that God has placed an inborn intelligence inside of your body. We call that innate intelligence. And it's obvious. If you cut your finger, it heals itself. If you break a bone, it heals itself without any help of our own. That intelligence, that innate intelligence, takes a half of a sperm cell and a half of an egg cell, and those two half cells become one complete perfect human cell, right? That's conception. That's day one. And at that point, your body starts to replicate and divide those cells. So in 9 months, we start day one with one perfect human cell, and in 9 months later, we have 70 trillion cells working in concert with each other that have created organ systems and body parts, your nervous system, your vascular system, and everything is working beautifully without any help from a mother or father. I know my wife and I, we had nothing to do. Every day we would read the app on our iPhone about what's happening with our child, right? With the fetus that's in my wife's tummy, we're looking at what's happening, and we're marveling at the magnificence of God's intelligence, of the fact that that stuff is literally being knitted together in the mother's womb, and we have nothing to do with it. We're simply spectators in this process, and that's an awesome thing. Now, here's the thing you have to understand, and I keep talking about that one thing, is the fact that that intelligence that took one cell to 70 trillion cells in 9 months' time does not leave your child the day they're born, right? Your child is not born into this world and that intelligence is gone, and then it takes every medical intervention and every single possible thing that we could do from the outside world to try to keep your your child's body from failing. That's not the way that it works. That intelligence that starts inside of you continues inside of you, and in each and one of us every single day, right? That intelligence operates through the nervous system, the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves, but it's regulating and sensing the child's environment, and it's allowing the body to respond and adapt accordingly. The more that we interfere with that body's ability to do what is necessary, the more that we see that child's health slip. Now, obviously, if you're watching this video, we're speaking in generalities. And there are children that are born with congenital anomalies. There are children that are born with outstanding circumstances. And thank God for modern medicine, the doctors and the surgeons that can allow us to start to save that child and then rebuild that child. That's great. But for the average child, we have to understand that the United States is the 39th state for neonatal and infant mortality. That your child literally stands a better chance of living, of actually being born and then living in 38 other states, or 38 other countries rather, than the United States. That's insane to me. So when we think about what the average person does, we need to stop and realize if everybody else is doing this, it may not be the right thing. All right? If we're giving our child 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds of antibiotics before the age of 1, probably not a good idea. If we're injecting massive amounts of toxins and vaccinations in our child at day 1 on, may need a little bit more research, may need a little bit more thought into that decision before you decide what is right and maybe what's not right for your child. Then most of all, first and foremost, is making sure that that child has its best chance, his or her best chance at life and at health from day 1. And that's making sure that their nervous system has the ability to try to function properly and to heal and to function them the way God designed them to in the first place. I would love to go on. Literally, I could go on for a couple of hours talking about children's health, and I'd love to break into ear infections and antibiotics and to vaccinations. I'd love to talk about food allergens and where those have come from. I'd love to just go so deep into this, but I know for the average person, it's too much information at one time. So for now, I think we need to stop here. The most important thing, like I said, the one thing from the video is to take into consideration that we are a steward of our child's health, and 2, that our children are born with an innate God-born intelligence inside of them that already senses and understands what that child needs and what they should do. And the more that we can stay natural to the way the child is rather than heavy medical intervention or heavy intervention of any kind, unless it's extenuating circumstances, makes the most sense to me. I look forward to seeing you soon. If you have questions or I could help you or your family, particularly help your children with, find better health, I welcome you to call our office or look us up online. I look forward to talking to you soon. God bless.